Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we're checking out a game in the Iowa. We got Billy Sims. He's the one you're going to want here for this ship. Dimitri Dewey enhances the AP penetration angle. Scharnhorst is the dispersion commander. There we got slot 1 AA, not full anti-air build though. Slot 4 where you keep the artillery plotting room. Very good boost to the accuracy. So there's a handful of ships. I think they're all American battleships that have the artillery plotting room option. Whatever it's available, I would go ahead and put that on there. Kind of turns your guns into lasers like the Iowa here. So we got a lot of accuracy in this build, and Iowa's kind of the king of the backline Betties. It's just is what it is, but it's the ship that does it the best. So when I'm playing the Iowa, I still would like to get in the middle of the board, and that's basically what your goal should be as a battleship. Eventually, if you can safely get in the middle without getting melted, then you have the greatest control over the map and certainly the caps that are in the middle of the board, as opposed to backing all the way up to the edge of the map and then being out of firing range for most of the match. No, you want to exert control as quickly as you can and as safely as you can. So that's the goal here, but it's going to depend on the positioning of friendly ships and enemy ships, if and when you can actually do that. Heinrich moving up here now. Iowa, kind of the main thing we want to do is not get shot in the side. So we can only move so far forward here. Now we do have a little bit of access to the Heinrich down there, and we got him for a decent shot there. Like to get him off the board as quick as possible, right? Because we got guys pushing up A as well. We're in the B column, the center column of this map. So if we got guys moving up onto A and C, eventually they're going to start accessing the sides of the ship, and we'll go down relatively quickly. So anyone pushing forward, we want to punish them and kind of hold them back. That's kind of the idea with this. These backline ships, they don't do as well in the middle. I like to get on the flanks a little bit. It's easier to protect yourself. You can angle pretty well, but curiously enough, Red's going to kind of group up in the southwest side of the map here as the match evolves. That's going to make protecting ourselves very easy. We can just kind of point our nose at the bulk of the red team without giving up that side axis. So like to get a full salvo off here on these Wichitas, the shores. Usually these would be the highest priority targets in most games, but there's no destroyers here, so radar cruisers, while still valuable, the radar itself greatly diminished, right? It's a menace for the destroyers, but if there's no destroyer to use the radar on, then, the values goes down. So I was more concerned early with the Heinrich, because he was the one presenting a challenge to the angling. Now here, the Bismarck and the Amagi moving forward into the cap, and they... when I was previously pointed directly south, now they could be shooting me in the sides. So we were forced to kind of readjust the angling. These guys aren't actually in a division, but they are holding hands with the Will to Rebuild perk. That'll make them invincible. I don't know why the perk's still in the game. Wargaming said 6 months ago they were going to fix it. Fixing it, in my mind, means highlighting the file and deleting it, but we'll see what happens if anything. But, yeah, we'll see how long these guys can last. I mean, we're 2.5 minutes in the game now, and they'll be the last ships alive, having sustained several times their full HP and damage. So, great idea, Bill. Kind of counteracts the entire point of the game, which is spreading out and creating right angles with your team. But here they're clumping up, and they're god tier players for doing so. So, anyway, that's the Will to Rebuild rant for this video. About how do we counter it? Of course, we want to ideally be having everyone on the team shooting one of them until you can kill them. If we're spreading the damage out between multiple ships like this, well, they're just going to refuel and repair and stay alive forever. So, easier said than done. Now, I'm not on the comms ever. Rarely playing a division. You guys see it every single time I am in a division because it's always on stream. So it's, you kind of either have to coordinate with the comms wheel or just using your eyes and your brain, saying, who's my team shooting at, who's low. Here's the Bismarck. He's got 15,000 health right now. He looks like he's probably the easiest. Oh, wait, he's angling. Okay, let's take some shots at the guy with the broadside. These always got to be kind of going through your mind, right? But you got to kill these ships. You got to physically remove them off the board. Otherwise, they will just keep generating health infinitely, right? They're just unsinkable. So, that's kind of the game plan here. You can see what I was talking about a moment ago where, look on the map, all those red ships are kind of clumped basically right in front of me. I'm pointing directly at 3 of them, and I'm like 10 degrees pointing, from directly at these guys to the right. So the entire red team has made it basically so they can hardly damage me, right? If they hit me in the superstructure, sure, they'll hit me for several thousand damage. They certainly can't citadel me from this angle. And they're, if they're hitting the hull, they're going to be doing minimal damage in general. So very easy in terms of armor angling and protecting yourself when everybody clumps up like this. What I'm trying to do, though, because look on the map again, you can see my position. I'm north, and then I'm about 2 squares north of most of my team, who's now moving through the middle of the map. They've secured C, cleared out that side, in the process of clearing out B, and I think we got this will be a relatively high-scoring game for the Iowa. We got a Roma on our team who actually outscores us this game, and he captures all 3 bases, I believe. So, those guys are moving through the middle, but because we have the 2 square separation or so, I'm looking for opportunities to kind of move to the west and get to the north of these guys, because they're either going to have to angle towards me. If they do that, then the guys to the south of me, we're going to have shots to their sides. Or if they say, okay, here's the bulk of the fleet on B, we better angle towards those guys, point their ship towards those guys. Now I'm going to have shots to the side. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to stay alive, though, because you can see we were in the secondary range. These guys getting pummeled, tanking a lot of shots. Now, this is an advantage for the team when, you can see here we're taking very minimal damage there because we're pointing at these guys and they're hitting us in the hull. But those shots are coming towards us and they're doing little damage as opposed to shooting the rest of our team. So tanking damage, yes, that is a part of the battleship repertoire and responsibility. Right? The more that they shoot us, even if we wind up dying, that's just going to give us the team time to do whatever they're doing. Now we got a Gneisenau north of C who's going to begin heading east again. And you'll see by my reaction on the radio, that's a little bit flabbergasting. We're the backline Betty sniper. The Gneisenau kind of the opposite. You want to be right up there in their face, launching them, get those torps at them, point blank range, hit them with those inaccurate guns right next to him. That's when the Gneisenau is the most effective. He's playing it completely opposite of that, whatever. But the rest of the team moving forward, kind of exerting pressure here. Tirpitz takes a nasty shot there as we access that side. And here's basically what we're talking about. We're looking for these broadside shots. Yes, we'd like to continue to shoot this Bismarck that's been in front of us with 20,000 health for the last, 7 minutes now. But he's not going anywhere. He can't be killed. Tirpitz, however, big meaty side shot, get him for 20, 30,000, whatever it is. And down he goes relatively quickly. He did get a little bit of revenge there right before he left the game, but nothing that we can't handle. So we're doing pretty well. We're working on doubling our ship's HP and damage here. We got a couple kills and decent position, but again, we're absorbing a lot of hits, right? If these shots are going towards our teammates, maybe they're dying. Maybe the ship count, which is tied currently, is less favorable if we're not able to absorb a lot of this damage. So don't be so far back that you can't shoot anyone and nobody can shoot you. That's not the point of this game, certainly not the point of a battleship game, to leave the game with full health. If you have full health at the end of the game in the battleship, you probably played it pretty poorly. Once in a while it's going to happen. You might have a good game and nobody shoots you, fair enough, but that should not be the norm, all right? Evaluate your own game. If you're constantly saying to yourself, man, I'm pretty good at this, nobody ever shoots at me, nah, you're too far away. It's not a good play, it's a bad play. Easy to fix, though. Just try and move forward a little bit. All right, Bismarck is low here, and here's what we're talking about. The team moving in, and the Roma really close to him. So he's forced to angle towards the Roma. That's going to finally give us access to the side. And finally, the shields are down. The Amagi no longer supported by his infinite health generator. And now he's in trouble, right? His crutch is removed. And again, we got the 2 square spacing. Roma closing in. I'm going to see if we can get him in the side here. And this is why we're trying to spread out. Despite the availability of will to rebuild, it's still better for the battleships to gain some distance between them and the teammates, because then you get access to big juicy shots that remove the enemy ships very quickly. So thusly, we did double our ship's HP and damage. That's always a good metric for a battleship. If you can pull that off, you've generally been pretty effective. Still got a carrier on the loose. Luckily, the flyboy never really took notice of our ship this game. That's nice, and that's why you're actually watching the footage. Otherwise, it would be lost in the cutting room floor. So, Iowa, when you see me play it, are we going to sit in the back the whole time? Not usually. Why were we doing it this time? Well, we had the middle spawn. We kind of helped clear off C, but just due to the fact that they were moving up into A. Well, if we move into B, now we're creating that right angle, right? Because if they have guys that are literally on A, and then they have guys 2-3 squares to the south of A, which is where the rest of their team was. If we move too far forward, we're kind of creating right angles for the red team to shoot at on ourselves by using that position. So you always want to move as far forward as you can, but the caveat is always as far forward as you can safely move, right? We don't want to just move forward just for the sake of it. And developing that kind of timing and the feel for that timing is part of learning how to play Battleship pretty well. All right, so shed the, okay, I'm going to sit in the back the entire game mentality and try and figure out how can I move forward. Just keep experimenting with it. If you go right to the middle of the match at the start of the game, you're going to die quickly. If you take 15 minutes to do it, you're not going to be as effective. You're not going to get those juicy side shots and the big crippling damage with a bunch of kills. Speaking of big crippling damage, bunch of kills, we're going for the Kraken here, Lexington. Ooh, baby, we love to shoot aircraft carriers. Even if they didn't bomb us the entire game, well, we're still going to take revenge out for them in a future game. We're just going to assume at some point in time this guy's going to mercilessly bomb us, and we're going to extract revenge ahead of time. So a vicious shot from the Roma there again. He had a great game, high caliber, and we finish off that for the Kraken there. So that's a look at the Iowa for you guys. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, hey, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming for you all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. Love to hear from you guys, and I'll see y'all later. All right, peace.